Welcome to the podcast, you guys. This is an interview episode, so I'm trying to just cut right into it. We're going to go without the intro. So let me just tell you, this is the ADHD Big Brother podcast. Thanks for listening. Doodly 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 dood. Music. I am the host, Russ Jones. I wrote an ebook called Descending to the Top. I'm an ADHD coach. I call myself an ADHD Big Brother. I run a community for coaching ADHD called the ADHD Big Brother Community. Who'd have thunk it? And today we have Antonia Bowring is back. She was also in episode 108. And she's here talking about her new book, The ADHD Success Planner. She's a good friend of mine. And listen to these credentials. Let me just put it up here on the map here. This is Antonia Bowring. She's a highly credentialed, top New York executive coach. She works primarily with founders, C-suite executives, and leadership teams. One of Antonia's areas of expertise is helping neurodiverse leaders create the necessary scaffolding to leverage their gifts and maintain their focus. She kicks ass. To summarize, she kicks ass. She's a frequent speaker to companies and groups on topics ranging from the leadership mindset, ADHD in the workplace, and communication best practices. Her articles through the Forbes Coaches Council are widely read, and the American Reporter named her one of the 10 leadership coaches to watch in 2022. Did you watch her that year? Her first book, Coach Yourself, Increase Awareness, Change Behavior, and Thrive, was published by Wiley & Sons in 2023. Her latest ebook, and the one that we're talking about today, is the ADHD Sex Planner? No. It's the ADHD Success Planner, your simple guide to boost productivity with less stress. It offers tangible tools for ADHDers to pursue their goals with greater ease. It's an amazing book, and we talk about it because we got to beta test it in the community, and we're still using the practices. It is phenomenal, and you guys are in for a treat because she explains the whole thing. So here you go. Here is my conversation with Antonia Bowring, already in progress. One of the biggest things that is so amazing about your book is that we've all started using it in the community. And I remember back, it was episode 108, you came, because that's kind of how we met.
Yeah.
And your other awesome book, Coach Yourself. But now you wrote this book, it's the ADHD Success Planner, your simple guide to boost productivity with less stress, which in and of itself is just beautiful.
I know.
But it works so good. So
I know.
We'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. But what made you want to write it?
Yeah. Well, full circle, you actually made me want to write it because
well, thank you. Excellent.
Yeah, no, seriously. I read, what's his name? Jeff Allen, somebody Allen's book.
Getting Things Done. It's David Allen, I believe. Yeah.
David. Yeah. I read that, it's the only book on productivity that anybody ever recommended. And I read it a long time ago.
Okay.
A long time ago, it was the only thing anybody ever recommended.
Okay.
And I think what you do with a good book or resource on productivity is you make it your own, right? And so you don't follow it like word by word. You make it your own. And that is really the spirit of this book. So what I did in this book is I took some of his concepts and discarded some because it was too complicated, his system. And I kind of added on an ADHD lens, filter, whatever you want to call it, empathy filter. And
that's great.
And so I got some terrific advice I got terrific encouragement from you. I got terrific advice from the amazing Barbara Luther. Have you had her on your program yet?
I haven't, but I went through Simply ADHD. We talked. Barbara and I talked. Phenomenal.
She is special. She is a special person. And then your community, your online community, test drove the book, the system, and gave me amazing feedback, which, I don't like feedback. Who does, right?
Right.
But I got the feedback. I remember I'd just been to an exercise class and I was sitting like going, oh my God, is there no end to their criticism? And I remember sitting there And then I typed it all up and I incorporated, I'd say 80% of it. And it was phenomenal because, well, actually, I love the one I'm remembering a random comment about doing the
Uh-huh.
planning session. Well, I kind of get like anxious when I have to sit down and do a planning session. So I like to take notes on my phone during the week. And then when I sit down at my planning session, I feel like I have something to work off. Brilliant. That
Yeah.
was just one of the dozens of brilliant comments. And so, yeah, that was kind of the genesis. And I started it being 10 pages after you and I spoke. And it was very
Mhm.
like, do this, do that, 10 pages,
Yes.
that's it.
Yeah.
And this book is 70 pages, but with a lot of white space.
Oh man,
And
yeah. I want to interject too because I have this comment about ADHD books in general, is that so many of them are 300 pages, 400 pages, and even though they're filled with such great insights and advice, we'll never use them. We will never do the work in the book if we even read the book,
I
and
know,
that's a quick 70 pages. I think
yeah.
we blasted through it, and I do want to say that it is such good, practical, comprehensive, and yet simple advice. We still use it to this day. Like we created an entire space in the community for weekly planning that is all about the buckets, man. It's
Well, you just said it. So should I walk through it and walk through what the system is,
well,
or is that not a good use of time?
no, I think that would be a good use of time, but because that will help everybody, right? But I do, before we get started on that, some people are coming to this podcast fresh. So you had mentioned
Oh
in
yeah,
episode 108 about how planning is self-care. And that was a brand
yeah,
new concept to me. And I would
really.
love for you to
Okay,
talk about that. Oh, we've incorporated
yeah,
the hell out of it. But
yeah,
can you
yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
Sure, sure. I think a lot about self care because I'm an executive coach, right? And I do coach leaders with ADHD, but the majority of my clients don't have ADHD. It's just
Mhm.
a super passion for me because I have an adult diagnosis.
Okay.
And well, I have so much to say about that, but not right now. So the idea of the self-care is that self-care is about feeling better, right?
Mhm.
Self-care is about um, cortisol lowers, positivity increases, things just feel calmer. You feel just more energetic, more set to embrace whatever might come.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we mix up self care with, no, I was going to say self indulgence, but there's a better word, but I can't think of it. Like a bubble bath is, I guess you could say it's self care,
Yeah.
but so is planning. So is taking the time. It's time alone to just get things in order. And we don't think of planning and prioritizing as self care, but it really is because you do it for yourself and
Mhm.
you do it so that you are better equipped to face whatever the world throws at you with hopefully a lower cortisol level.
And I can actually speak to fresh experience on this. Is that last week or the week prior, I had a down week. I was starting to feel like depressed.
Mm,
Um, but you know what I noticed is that I didn't plan my week. I skipped doing the weekly planning. Just forgot. It happens. Happens to the
of
best of
course,
us.
to the
But
best of us.
I was doing my weekly planning the other day for this week, and we posted in the community. Right, here's my week. Here are my buckets, and I was like, I wanted to go look at what I had accomplished from the last week, and I didn't. Did I fucking not even do it? It's like that. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that tells me everything. I was living last week at, I was planning my day in the moment, which never works. And
No,
it's like, you're like, what am I going to do right now? Oh, and it becomes overwhelming.
right.
So that
Exactly.
feeling now of like, oh, I know what's happening this week. I have my week on my whiteboard in front of my face. I put it in my face now, and there's a feeling of command or control,
Mm,
and it's not my whole day's all figured out every day, every moment.
mm-mm,
It's just a
mm-mm.
sense. That's what I love about your buckets. Can you,
You know
okay,
what?
go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, I want to talk about because I think you hit on it's a little bit impossible to separate the planning session from the buckets, but let's
Uh-huh.
try and do it.
Okay.
I wish if anyone out there is like a research scientist, I want someone to do research on weekly buckets because intuitively I know that there is something about that arc of a week
Okay.
that our brain can grasp that okay, that a month is too much. Like I can kind of grasp it, but I can really hold a week in my head and I can see the arc of it. And I swear I don't have any data that tells me that's what's special about this system, but
Yeah.
it's the secret sauce. Because to your point, Russ, I sometimes so let's just do real quick. There
Yeah.
are I'm going to say four pieces to this system, but I only talk about really three in the book.
Okay.
One is you got to use a calendar, people. It's 2023. I don't want to hear any
It's not even
excuses.
2023. It's
Oh my
2024. Get back into the future, Antonia.
God. Okay. That is some kind of like super crazy Freudian slip, right? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, let's start that again. Uh,
Redo.
redo. It's 2024, almost 2025, and you got to use a calendar.
Yeah.
I just let that is not even part of the system. You have to. Okay. Maybe if you live under a rock on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you don't need a calendar, but you might be the only person on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Secondly, but what's the system? A weekly planning session, self care with a
Mm-hmm.
cup of coffee, with an herbal tea. Okay. I'm not going to say with a glass of wine, but you could do that. Um, and then that's where you create your buckets, your weekly bucket list. And that's the secret sauce. We'll come back to it. And then the last piece of it is your daily to do list.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like a breeze because of the weekly buckets. And the daily to do list, I give three examples of different daily to do list structures in the book.
Which is
Yeah, I
so
think you
cool.
encouraged me to do
Oh,
that. It
did
was
I?
your idea. I think
I'm
so.
patting
It's
myself on the back because those are
should.
brilliant. Can you talk about really quickly?
Yeah.
What do you mean
Yeah.
three different?
Yeah. So we'll come back and talk in detail about each piece, and it doesn't
Okay.
matter the order, but
Okay.
so the daily to-do list. So you have your weekly bucket list, the secret sauce, and that doesn't have dates or times. It's just what do I really know I need to kind of deal with this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let's talk about the buckets and then do the to-do list
Yeah, I
period. Is that
love
okay?
the buckets. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
And so you're sitting down at, well, let's go back. It's your weekly planning session.
Yes.
And this is self care time. This is, depending on who you are, you fit it in. In one of my books, I give the example of a client of mine who had real trouble finding the time um, to do the weekly planning session.
I know
And
that. Yeah.
she laddered it onto going to church
Yeah.
because we know habits are stackable.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that's a really powerful way to create new habits is stack them on other things, particularly ones we enjoy.
Yeah.
So you find your time. Okay, I'd encourage you to start with an hour, but now I can do it in 20 minutes. You have your calendar, you have last week's to-do lists and bucket lists, you have anything else that's come up, and you sit down and you go, and if you're someone from your community, you have what's on your phone and notes so that you
Mm-hmm.
don't sit down and go, oh my God, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And you go, okay, what are my buckets this week? I'm just going to read you mine. I always have clients as a bucket.
Mhm.
I always have a business admin. I always have home admin. That's the longest bucket list of them all.
Ugh.
I always have as a cheat other.
Your
And
catch-all, your
yeah,
miscellaneous bin.
and right now I have eBook, right? So
Another one?
promoting, no, this one.
Oh, I was like, oh,
So,
wow.
but I'm preparing my proposal for my next book.
That's so awesome.
So I can't see what it's about though, because someone might steal my idea, and I
Yeah.
can't find one book on Amazon on this topic.
Ooh, good. Get it done.
I'll tell you later. But for the ebook, I've got three things: emails to individual, I call them influencers, but they're friends,
Yep.
to get them. I have reach out to podcast hosts, and I have, update data on ADHD. Okay. Those are my three things I need to do under the ebook bucket. So that's all it is. I think 5 or 6 buckets is
Yeah.
enough. If you want 8, go for it. If you want 3, whatever, you
Yeah, I
got
have
3.
3. I have the
What are
ADHD
yours?
Big Brother. Oh, yeah, yeah. So, and mine are based on I have a year goal. And so then it's sort of my buckets are ADHD Big Brother, uh,
Yeah.
health, and personal. And so like the health would be like things like meditation and getting certain kind of exercises. The personal is family time with my kids, and then the ADHD Big Brother is all business related. But I haven't been doing it in terms of 3 priorities, which I may change after talking
What
to
have you
you.
been doing? What have you been doing?
What are the things I want to get done this week?
Yeah.
What are my drivers for this week? And ADHD Big Brother tends to be the longest one of that, just
Well,
because
I would
there's
think so, because
so
it's
much.
your podcast, it's your community, it's your.
Yeah,
Now, I might, if you were my client,
I
I
am your
might,
client. Hit me with it. Let's just pretend.
I
Let's
might, I
go.
might break that into 2, or
Oh,
3.
ADHD Big Brother into 2.
Because
Okay.
I could say, think about it this way, Russ. I could say my bucket is coaching. Well, that's a really big bucket. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
what I do is I put clients, like maybe group coaching if I have stuff coming up that week with groups.
Yeah.
And then I might have like business admin, invoicing, sending out proposals, whatever.
Oh, yes. Okay. I can.
Think
I
about it.
think. Yeah. I mean, off the top
Yeah.
of my head, I'm like the business administrative part, which is just fucking gross. I hate it. Um, and I can't
Virtual
delegate
EA,
that yet.
virtual. Well, soon you will.
I will.
Virtual
Yeah,
EA.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. But
yeah.
but listen, what's great about what you and I are saying is you do you, right? Like
Yes.
if it's something is working, you do you. And we also know, thank you, Barbara Luther, who was our professor.
Hmm.
She says this over and over, and we know it's true. ADHDers like bright, shiny objects. We
Yes.
like variety. So, what does that mean? I may use my system differently. You know, I may switch around the day and time I do the planning. I may think about my buckets bigger or smaller. I may use different to-do lists because you and I know with our brains, you
Yeah.
can use the same system and go, this is amazing. This is excellent. And then one day you go, I don't like this anymore. I'm bored.
Yes. Yes.
And so,
Yes. That
yeah,
chokes
yeah.
me up about our community is that we
Mm,
are ADHDers are so freaking creative. And the part that chokes me up is that we beat ourselves up about that. Instead of knowing that this is who we are, we have historically gone, oh, my system failed. I'm a piece of shit. I guess nothing works. As opposed to going, this awesome system is now run its course. Now I get the gift of being creative and coming up with a new thing. And that, like, literally, this is my stuff is now on my wall because I kind of stopped using my bullet journal. It wasn't external enough for me. So now
Yeah.
I have it literally so I can look at my day by turning my
Yeah.
head. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of the,
Yeah.
okay. Can
Yeah.
I say
Now,
something
if
about your,
y-
oh, you go ahead.
yeah, yeah. No, no. I was going to say now, if you were a traveling salesperson in a car, that board wouldn't work, right? You'd need something else. But
Correct.
I don't want to leave this point without just reaffirming what you said. Accept that whatever system you're using right now may not be the one you're using in a month or 2 months or whatever. And that's okay.
Mhm.
As long as you try and build something else and experiment, it might take time. That is not failure. Our brains like novelty and bright, shiny objects. And if next time you want to do it with colored felt pens on, whatever, that's okay too. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay.
And your ebook is literally the brightest of the shiny objects. It is freaking cool. Can this is what I wanted to read this. I printed this out so I could read it because
Okay.
this applies to what why your book is brilliant is you have this checklist that anytime I'm learning a system, right? I'm always like, but am I doing it right? How do I do it? What is the process of doing it right? You're telling me how to do it, but I don't. How do I know when it's done? How do I know if I've done it? Whatever. I can overcomplicate the hell out of anything. And you literally wrote it down in this checklist that people can print out and put up on their wall. And I want to read this. This is the daily to do at the end of each day. And it's a checklist of things for people watching the YouTube. But you tick off what you accomplished today, get out a blank to-do list from form and label it with tomorrow's date, scan your calendar and completed weekly planning buckets form. So, okay, great. Now I know this is what I do. I've got it out. I'm looking at my calendar. Did it. Carry over anything not completed today to be done tomorrow. Add
Always something.
always, always add
Always.
already scheduled meetings and events into the time boxes. That is a big one for me.
Me too.
Because I'll
Me too.
forget. I forget. Um, Complete the form for tomorrow. And you give us 3 different options. You should talk about that.
I will.
List your top 3 priorities for tomorrow in the space provided. That one I still need work on. I need to. This is
Mm.
a reminder for me to like what's a priority. Um, Archive today's to-do list and then enjoy a fist bump or some other moment of celebration. This then I can go through this. This is what is so great about this to me is I can check all these off, and once it's all checked off, I can feel comfortable knowing that my day is planned and I can walk away. There's
And it's
nothing that
not in your head, which
there's
means
nothing like did I
you're
forget something? Is there something missing here? I did it.
right,
Oh, I
right,
fucking love
right,
it.
right, right. I think, you know what? If I could say, if there's one thing, like this is around planning and prioritization, because, we could talk about other ADHD gifts and challenges, but around planning and prioritization, I think there's 2 key concepts. Get it out of your head
Yes.
in writing, whether that's electronic, crayons, stickers, paper and pen, and put it somewhere in writing that you can find. So if you can get something out of your head and you can find it later, you are, I would say, 3/4 of the way there. Because as soon as you get it out of your head in writing or stickers or whatever, and you can find it, your head doesn't have to hold it. I
Yeah,
can start thinking about other things. I can be creative. And I lower my cortisol because I'm not trying to figure out what's up there and try and retain it. No, I can let it
totally.
go. That is like those 2 things are so simple and hard. But
Yeah.
because writing it down is number 1, but if you were my mother, you write things down on the back of envelopes and that she can't find them.
Mhm.
So she's only doing one of the 2. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You and I are like on a mission here.
Oh, totally. My favorite, the gift that we can give ourselves with ADHD is actually permission to forget, to be in a place where we are not worried about what we forgot. We are comfortable in that we get to forget
Yeah.
because we did some front load work to take care of that. And making that as simple as possible is probably such a, I don't know, in my head that's such a big deal. And it's why
Yeah.
your ebook is, I'm so like juiced about it, is because you made a thing simple and easy and it's fun to look at, and
Mm,
I can be confident in when I finish the work that I get to forget.
mm.
I
I love
just,
that.
yeah,
I love that. Well, let's dive back. So we've got everyone's using a calendar. Everyone
please.
is, please, everyone is setting aside a little time. And I feel quite strongly it's not Monday morning. And I
Mhm.
feel quite sure Friday afternoon you're too tired, but you
Yeah.
do you, right? But sometime you take the and you ask your spouse or your friend or your significant other, if there is one, to help you find this time because it's if it's good for you, it's good for the family
Mhm.
ultimately, right? And you come up with your bucket list for the week, your buckets and the priorities under those that are inside those buckets, right?
Mhm.
So I gave an example of what's on mine this week.
Mhm.
Um, okay, not critically important, but I never put dates on the bucket list. Like, oh, uh, got to do that follow up call Wednesday. I don't do that
Oh,
because the you could if that works for you, but for me, this is just like the week. And secret here, some weeks I don't do to do lists, daily ones. I'm just using my bucket list. It's so powerful because I've captured the week. And
yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's like some kind of osmosis. It goes in my brain and I kind of know what I need to do. Now, if I know I'm like, for example, I'm doing a workshop the first week of December and
Mhm.
I need to make sure everyone receives my book. Well, I'm not thinking about the first week of December the week before. I do scan my calendar ahead. Go back to number one, you have to have a calendar to see what's coming up that may impact this week, right? So
Gotcha.
it's not like I don't, it's like a blank wall at the end of this week, but my focus is on this week. So now it's Sunday. We've got the bucket list, and then we create our to do list for Monday. You create your to do list. It's the last thing you do at the end of the day for the next day. And you just beautifully walked us through the steps.
It's awesome.
And I created three versions, a super anal one every half hour, right? For
For
the anal
me,
type.
I want it.
Yeah. And then the version with what am I doing hour by hour? And then the AM, PM. And to your point, I want to make 2 points here. One is it is so helpful to actually look at your calendar and go, oh, okay, 9 to 10, I'm in a meeting with my boss. 11 to 12, I'm on Russ's podcast. 1:30, okay, I'm going to eat 1 to 1:30, block that out. 1:30 to 3, I'm oh, what am I doing? I'm running a workshop.
Right.
Okay. When I actually transfer from my calendar onto my to do list, that my commitments, right, that are calendared, that should immediately impact my to do list. Because if I have two 20 items, I'm setting myself up for disappointment,
Yeah.
feelings of shame, worthlessness, cortisol going, out of the rooftop. So that should tell me, well, actually, Antonia, you have about 2 hours of work time tomorrow. So what can you realistically do in 2 hours?
Hmm.
Probably three things. It depends what they are, but now I'm way more set up for success.
Hmm. That's
So
awesome.
yeah. And then at the end of the day, I look at my to-do list. I might look at my bucket list, what's on my calendar for tomorrow. I get it done. I move forward. And no shame in carrying things forward. I've been carrying something forward for about 3 years that I just gave up on.
I dare
Um,
you. That's the ADHD big
yeah,
brother. I challenge you. Set
yeah,
aside 30
yeah,
minutes. I bet. Can I ask you a couple questions about your the
yeah,
weekly planning then? I was about to
yeah,
write them down because
yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna forget. Two questions. One is are do you look at your weekly thing every day? And number two is can you talk about is there a reflection period on your as part of your weekly session on Sunday? Do you reflect back? What does
Thanks.
all that
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So, I look at my weekly planning buckets. Usually I don't look at it during the day. I look at it when I do my to-do list for tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you it
At the
is
end of the
hitting
day.
you every day. You are kind of it's
Yeah.
refreshing every. Okay, gotcha.
And also, you know what? It lives beside me
Hmm.
on, on, and what I like to do, this is a personal thing. I, if there's any like important notes or like names or phone numbers or things, I immediately write those on the back of my to-do list. And I
Okay.
actually keep my to-do list and bucket list for a few months in case there's something I ever have to find that was in there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I do. And then I just throw them away. But I do like to feel like, those like, oh, somebody tells you the name of a book or whatever. I put it either on the back of my to-do list or the back of my buckets list so that again, I wrote it down and I know where to find it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I sit at a desk a lot. I'm on Zoom a lot. For other folks, like in your community, it may make way more sense to do that electronically, right?
Hmm.
Because it just depends on what your lifestyle is. Or you had another question in there about yeah, so I had a client in Toronto who told me, well, actually, I really enjoy Friday, last thing I do. I don't plan next week, but I do go and tick off in my bucket list to
Oh,
feel a sense of accomplishment for the week. So I like that idea.
that sounds
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
I I generally I generally don't do that. I generally look at it on Sunday when I do my planning, but I do always look back as part of my planning because I need to know the things I didn't do
Yeah.
because there's always several.
And
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, I was going to say is one of the things that we started doing in the community is as a part of our weekly planning, we do the buckets and everybody kind of has their own way of doing things.
Yeah,
But we
that's so great.
started, yeah, but we started doing a thing where we will talk about what we got done. We will reflect a little bit and just say, I did this, 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 and this. So often, and this goes especially if we didn't plan you could have worked your ass off all week and felt
Yeah,
like you didn't do a damn thing and felt like I didn't move my needle forward on anything in life. But and even when you do this thing like where you go, oh, I actually didn't do too much of what I said on the buckets, but I did do this, and it was all positive. It's a way to be like, hey, maybe you didn't do everything on your list, but you got stuff done. Let's celebrate that a little bit as you move forward
yeah,
into the next week.
yeah,
So
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. You know, I don't, this somehow took hold in my head. I was talking to a client, incredibly impressive woman, and she was talking about she has every day, she's very organized. She doesn't have ADHD, but she has 3 gold stars, 3 silver stars, and 3 bronze stars, which equate to things she has to do. And
Okay.
the 3 gold stars, doesn't matter. They will get done. Like
Okay.
she's like, doesn't matter.
No
The
matter what.
silver star and the bronze star, I'd like to do them, but if I don't do them, but the gold star, even if it's 9 at night, I will get that done. And
That's
I kind of,
awesome.
I like that. Yeah, like,
Hmm.
yeah, I like
It's
that.
fun.
Yeah. And so I also, you know, this is a little bit of a sidebar, but
Okay.
one of the things that I know overwhelms me is when I can't like break something down, right? And it's just kind of too big. And so, for example, I told you one of the things I need to do is on my list, reach out to influencers. That means my
Right.
friends,
Yes.
and say, um, hey, if you know anyone with ADHD, pass them on the link to the book. And hey, if you want to shout me out on social media, I'd appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay. I now have a goal of doing one a day,
Okay.
one email a day. And that is super manageable. Sometimes I do 5, but I can do
Mhm.
1. And I know the system. Like, okay, I have a template saved in my drafts. I just personalize it. I add one attachment. I press send. And then I have, remember, write it down in a place you can find it. I have, this is a spreadsheet where I have a list of all the names of people I'm going to reach out to and the date when I send them the email.
God, that's
So,
so good.
but you see, there's a bunch of pieces in there that are almost like creating the fertile ground so that I can send one a day. I have a place where it gets written down.
Hmm.
So I have like the template and I know, and then I can then send one email so simply.
Yeah, I like that. The idea of a lot of, and I wonder, I think this is probably an ADHD situation where some of these things are so they have tension to them. And so there's so many steps, right, to this email to your influencers, so that any one of those steps could be so enough tension where you have to think, what do I do? And then if you have to think, it's just like, well, I'll figure it out later, and you move on. But what you're doing
Yes,
is you're creating
little
the scaffolding.
ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
scaffolding.
you can
Yeah,
be like, I did all this hard work so that it can be easy work. So that you can just like,
yes, yeah.
that's the brilliant. That's,
And
yeah.
and to come to one of my most favorite topics is how did I create the spreadsheet and the template?
Yeah.
Body doubling.
Yeah. Let's go. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
How do you
Okay.
body double? Do you body double? Some people do it with an assistant. Some people we do it in the community, right? But then there's
Yeah.
also like Focus Mate or some programs. How do you do your body doubling?
Yeah. I don't, I've never tried an app. Is there an app that does that?
We
What's
do it.
that
I
called?
don't use it because we have a 24/7 body double room in the community. So people will just be like,
Okay.
"Hey, I'm going to do
Oh,
some shitty
wow.
stuff. Anybody want to join me?" And then it's a Zoom room that's always open.
I have someone who helps me, a super smart um, woman. It could have been a man, but it happens to be a woman, super smart woman who helps me with projects. And
Cool.
she literally sat there and we typed back and forth to create the template. We had already created the one page ago, and then she created the spreadsheet and I tweaked it. But to get going, I
Yes,
needed her help to, okay,
that's awesome.
I know, template in the drafts, personalized, write the name, add the uh, attachment, press send. And
Oh,
now it doesn't feel stressful to do one a day.
yeah, that's so cool. There was
Yeah.
a study that I'm sure I said it like 8,000 times on different episodes, but which kind of goes to the point of how awesome body doubling is. There was a study that I just read a line inside the study one time, and it said, hills are never as steep when you walk them with a friend. And I'm like, that's
Mm,
that's exactly what body doubling is. You're taking a shitty
mm,
thing and making it easier because there's somebody else there.
mm,
I love it.
Yeah. And body doubling, it's why they say why we like to work in cafes, right?
Yeah.
There's something about like that. I think it might even be like why I, for some reason, am uber productive on airplanes. That's called, there's something about like
Yeah.
I'm focused, but there's a lot of stuff going on around me, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
I
hustle
think
and
body
bustle. I
doubling.
love that. Like whenever I don't know why I don't do this more, but it's just the maybe it's the extrovertness of us too. It's like there's life happening. So there's energy happening.
There's
Like I remember
energy.
like
Yeah.
yeah, like I get so much juice off of this. Today was like one of these rare days. I had two back-to-back clients and before this, and I was like I'm like dancing, I'm like juiced up. If I had nothing going on today, I would be like I got to set a timer. I got to be easy point of
No.
entry. I'd be using every freaking ADHD tool I can think of. Um so that yeah, there's something to the juice of
Hmm.
being around life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. So Russ, I 6% of adults have a diagnosis of ADHD. And while this is, I struggled a bit when I wrote this, like, who's the audience for this? Because some of this stuff seems so simple, but you know what? I have a client who's a CEO who said to me, I am so underwater. I'm so off track. And I said, well, when did you last feel on track? He said, when I was using your system.
Can I say something? I have been onto your website, and everybody should go to your website, which it's ab-strategies.com, right? You have this way of talking about what it's like working with a coach that I was just going like, oh, that is so simple and brilliant. It was like the
Oh,
oh, can you do you know it off the top of your head? Can
no,
you?
I don't even know what
Oh,
you're
dude,
talking
it's
about.
so good. It was
Is it?
like it's
Oh,
literally
wait.
like just these 4 points of like, okay, you find a strategy, you work it, then you go back and you think about what you did. Oh, now, you know what?
Oh,
Let's put everybody on hold. Beep. Okay,
oh,
and we're back. We found it. We logged onto their site. It's ab-strategies.com/coaching. If you want to see the graphic, it really summarizes the beauty of that coaching relationship. I know this is
yeah.
kind of a
Okay.
sidestep, but it's so good.
Sure. Sure. This is the yeah. Okay. Well, look, I'm looking at it on my phone. I think that in some ways, this is exactly what sort of coach yourself's title was: increase awareness, change behavior, and thrive. And that's not a straight line, right?
Right.
You increase, like, we're increasing awareness about ways that we can plan and prioritize better as ADHDers. Today, what are we doing? We're increasing awareness. Then we got to go, and you have a community that supports each other, or
Mhm.
someone could have a body double, or someone could have a coach. Then you got to go try it out, right? You got to actually implement behavior change, which is not easy, right?
Right.
But you try it, and then you go, okay, did that work for me or not? Well, actually, Russ has his to dos on a big whiteboard, but I move around all day long from client to client. I need a beautiful purple notebook where with pages that are magnetic so I can stick them on my wall when I get home. So, oh, okay, that's a great reality check. That system won't work for me, but I can tweak it. It will work like this. And we, that's all we keep doing is increasing awareness, changing a behavior, seeing, does that work or not? Okay, let's go back, try something a bit different, increase more awareness. That's how we move forward.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And nowhere in there is there, you didn't do the thing, so you're a loser. And so nothing works for you.
Yeah.
It's the constant like checking in, making a change if there needs to be a change, move forward. Check back. I just I love
Well,
that.
and Russ, I think I think a lot about that ADHD. This is like, I think I have to copyright this or something, is a profound and practical journey, because what we're talking a lot about today is the practical side of things, although
Hmm.
I think it's linked to the profound side. But goal setting, like getting things done, showing up responsibly,
Yeah.
all of that. And, but there is also a profound side, which is both, wow, we have some amazing gifts
Hmm.
and creativity. And if you believe these books about, they needed our brains in the savannah when the lions were
Yeah, yeah.
chasing them. I mean,
Hunters
that
and get yeah.
Swedish guy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That biologically, maybe that's not what you need in a classroom, but we still need that skill set. But we do have some gifts that come from neurodiversity. And I am like on a mission that we also have to integrate and like shed, or let's say shed,
Hmm.
all that self judgment,
Yeah.
negative self narrative. And it's like a lifetime of little nicks and cuts
Yes. Yes.
every single day. Oh my God, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why can I not look that person in the eye? Why am I so impulsive? Why
Oh
did I go
yeah.
to fill a water bottle, but I did 8 other things and the water bottle's still empty?
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
eh.
And our
And
childhood, right? From our caregivers. Why can't you sit
totally,
still? Why aren't you focused? Why aren't you this? Why won't you sit down? Totally.
yeah. And I said this, I think, but I personally, I think everybody should be in therapy. But I think that, no, but
Agreed.
I think that there is a lot to let go of and incorporate into, like, this is me. And it's
Yeah.
not perfect and it's not terrible, but I have a different brain. And I really want to rewrite my self narrative to
Yeah.
shed that shame and all those nicks and cuts that really add up to a lot of blood loss, and just kind of say, I'm okay.
Yeah. I think that is part of the reason why I'm so focused on maybe the practical side, like the productivity side of how do we do shit? Because nobody's really out there helping us to do our laundry or to do the things in life that we know that we can do, but we can't do. And I feel like when we get these strategies, like from your book, like the stuff that you're helping us with, when we're doing these things, we keep getting data points that we can do hard shit, like,
Mm-hmm.
or we can be reliable, or that we can do the thing that we said we were going to do. And the more data points we get to that, the less that old historical, you're a big loser, piece of shit, lazy, blah, 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 that starts to
Mm-hmm.
dissipate. And then
Mm-hmm.
the be cool with yourself can maybe become I love myself,
Mm-hmm.
maybe in down
Mm-hmm.
the road. But
Mm-hmm.
it's, yeah,
You got to do both, right?
yep,
And they feed each other. You got
yeah.
to, you can't sit in a therapist's office and figure it out. You still got to pay your taxes, right? I mean,
Yes, you still have to
right?
do stuff.
Yeah. And people rely on us,
Mhm.
and people, and we get judged for letting people down,
Yeah.
and I think that's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah, we're going down a road right now, aren't we?
yeah, yeah. But what I think I want to say more than anything
Hmm.
is, I want every single person with ADHD to read this book. I'll give it away. I don't care. I want to get it
My
in the
God, it
hands
is
of people.
so affordable. You guys,
Yeah.
literally, it is the most affordable. I'm not going to say what the price is because it might go up or down, but just the
You
link will
can
be in the show notes.
7.99. 7.99. The
That's
price of an oat milk latte.
come on to get all of your shit together and
Yeah.
enjoy it, to take care
Yeah.
of yourself.
Yeah.
It's glorious.
But
Antonia, you're awesome.
oh, well, so are you. And thank you. That's what we should say. And,
Like,
you know, what I want to say is pick the book up, put it down, read a bit, put it down, try something. If you put it all together, wow. But you don't have to. That's the thing. There's no judgment in this book, except you have to use a calendar. Um, but, try a weekly planning session, try one of the to-do lists, try the buckets, think about the Eisenhower prioritization matrix.
Mhm.
Pick it up, put it down, do you. It's always there. These are best practices, and make it your own.
That brilliant. Brilliant. And the permission to do little bits at a time.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That is awesome. But you just for the checklist alone, Antonia, it's like this is a monumental level of help for people with our brain. You're helping us to, with our interest wired brains, to do important things. And that, I can't thank you enough for that. And I
Oh,
love you. I think you're an amazing human. And I'm
oh, I feel the same
dying to
way.
know what the next book is. By the way, just so that people know, like you have a book and you can get it on Amazon. It's another brilliant. This is a bigger book. It's called Coach Yourself.
Yeah,
That's how we
that's not
met.
an ebook. Yeah, that's how
No,
we met. That's not an ebook.
there's
That's
meat
by
in that.
Wiley. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God. And it's, I just love that. I just love the title
Thank you.
alone. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. It was
Uh,
fun writing it. And I love that book. This is a passion project in a different way. There is I think, a way that this ADHD success planner may become either a chapter or appendix in my next book.
oh,
Hmm? Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
wait.
yeah, yeah. But
I'm gonna needle you all the time. How's the book
all right.
coming? How's the book coming?
Well, listen, I before we hang up, I want to
Okay.
actually ask you, if will you send me your calendar link, because
Yeah.
I need you to body double with me,
Oh,
because
sure.
I am part of your community and I can't find it anymore. I don't know like how to navigate around it. And once in a while I get on it and I go something, but I
Yeah.
owe some people in your community a little talk about polyvagal theory.
Oh, were you gonna come and do a workshop for us? Now, okay,
Yeah.
so let's do two. Let me try to get as much from you as I can. Because a planning workshop would be phenomenal. Um,
Oh, okay.
oh my God, but
Using
this
this system?
yes, because we
Oh,
have
okay.
a lot of new members since you came and talked
Oh,
to us the
sure.
last time.
Sure.
So, and
Sure.
it's always so good coming out of your mouth. Like you're, it's
Sure.
brilliant.
Okay,
And for all
I
you
would be
people,
happy to.
come join our community because this is the shit. We're doing the shit.
Yeah,
Um,
and I will say, you and I have talked about this, and you said this to me. It's not like we don't know what we should do.
yeah.
We just don't do it. And what we all know is that community creates accountability, and
Hmm.
not accountability like someone rapping you over the knuckles, but accountability through empathy, through caring, through constructive feedback. But
Yes.
it's so important, and I see that in your community, and I super celebrate it, because that makes a big difference in creating scaffolding
Yeah.
for someone who's neurodivergent.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much, Antonia. You're
Thank you.
you're one of my favorites, man.
You're one of mine.
All right. And with that, I'm going to let you go to your next thing on your list, probably a workshop or more writing. Um,
No,
but thank you.
I have a coaching appointment, but
Oh,
yeah,
get on it. All
yeah.
right. Thank you so much, Antonia. And there you have it. That is Antonia Bowring. Isn't she awesome? She's giving us all the information. You guys, I highly, highly recommend the book. Please, if you are an ADHDer, you need this book. It's the ADHD Success Planner. You can find it at ab-strategies.com, and I'll put the link in the show notes. $7.99. It's a no-brainer, and it's a game changer. So please pick yourself up a copy of that ebook, and it comes with printable PDF versions of the different daily scheduling as well as the checklist. It's just freaking awesome. And then also I wanted to let you guys know that if you're listening to this week on the 20th, I'm going to be hosting a live version of the webinar on how adults with ADHD can do shitty things. If you are struggling to get started on things that you know how to do, but you're just not doing them, I am going to educate on our type of brain and also give you the strategies that I know to work to get you started on those things. And the link to register for that will be in the show notes. And with that, I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you later.